Okay, so welcome everyone to the sprint demo for sprint 2019.15, which was just completed. And we will start with a brief summary and then have some demos and discussions around the features that we have implemented in this sprint. So in this sprint, we have done some improvements related to diagram navigation. It's now easier to use the go outside command for navigating in a hierarchical state machine. In particular, if you want to follow a transition path back to the trigger transition from inside a nested state. We also fixed that navigate to diagram now works for internal transitions. Then we also did some usability improvements for code editing by hiding some irrelevant code snippets that are no longer shown by default in the code view, so that you have less tabs to click on. The model debugger was also improved, so we have now a new icon in the debug view for showing that a capsule part doesn't contain any capsule instances. And there's also information about the number of capsule instances that is currently located in the capsule part. We also did some improvements to the label of instance diagrams to make it more compact and correct. Then we did some search improvements related to finding diagrams and in particular to navigating to the diagrams when they have been found and to highlight them in the Protest Explorer. And as part of this work, we also implemented a few navigation commands from diagrams that allow you to navigate to not only the diagram owner in the Protest Explorer, but also to the diagram itself. We did some fix in the properties view, for example, related to transition, when you switch the transition kind, and also corrected the behavior when you are deleting or navigating to the dependencies from the dependencies tab, in case those dependencies are shown as sorted. That didn't work properly before. Then we did a number of improvements related to transformation configurations. If the user, when editing a TCJS file, happens to use any JavaScript construct that is more advanced than a simple property assignment, then only the code tab can be shown. And previously there was no indication for the user at what line that caused this to happen. So now we have markers in the ruler of the code tab to show exactly which line that is the reason for the missing tabs. We also implemented support for navigating from errors shown in the console view to the code tab in the TC editor. And it's now possible to use environment variables in the build folder property of an external TC. And then we did also a bunch of build improvements. So we have a build server and now it's automatically restarted by default when it has been idle for some time. There is a new preference that controls this behavior. And the reason for this is that it can reduce memory consumption. If it has been running for a long time, it can take up some memory. There is also now better information for users in case there is any problem when starting a build, for example, or on this RTist server that we also have as a running as a separate process. Common reason has been that the ports that are by default used are not available on the machine, and now it's easier to find out that situation because there is a dialog popping up. Another thing related to troubleshooting is to open the build server log, and we made that easier now by introducing a new button on the preference page that users can click to open that in the text editor. There was also a problem fixed related to that previously a build could be considered successful even if invocation of the model compiler returned an error status. So that's now been fixed. And finally, we did some improvements in the area of build variants. So now it's possible to update TC prerequisites from a build variant script. And also we introduced better error messages in case you try to update some properties that are not allowed to be changed from a build variant script. There is also a new model fix-up released as part of this sprint release. It's related to fixing problems that could be caused by using templates. And finally, a miscellaneous note is that we have worked on automating the generation of PDFs. So it's not something that you as users will notice, but it saves us quite some time when we're updating documentation, because now these PDFs are generated as part of our builds, which is quite nice. The experimental features in this release is the same as it has been for a long time. It's the BERT reporting. And here on this slide, you see the version number of the release we will release today or tomorrow. So it's RTist 10.3, 2019.15, and it should be installed on Eclipse Photon. So do not install it on the very latest Eclipse. And then there is also, as I said, a new model fixer plugin that is, as usual, available on our DeveloperWorks wiki page. And the other versions on the older streams are still in maintenance mode, and fixes there will only be done on a need-to-have basis. So I think that was the last of the introduction. Any questions before we proceed with the demo?